good day, beautiful listeners of Agape FM. Today we are here with the beautiful Amina Grobbelaar of Stress-Less Debt Counsellors. So we'll be conversating with her about her business, and she's very nervous. I'm just telling her to calm down. It will be all good and well. Okay, so I'm Nicole. Nicole, I'm also a bit nervous because this is my first time, ma'am. So I'm just also nervous. So don't worry, we are in the same boat. We are floating in the same boat. Yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna get into it. We're gonna relax. We're gonna enjoy and have a nice conversation about your business and how it came about. Okay, ma'am. So tell us about the genesis, the beginning of your business, how it came about.
Okay, so I used to, when I finished varsity, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. I did finish a degree in music, but I was like unsure as to that I would want to go into that as a career. So I started working in different industries and just trying to find my feet and say, where is it I want to go? Where is it that I can be of worth and help to people? So once I came back, I was overseas for a while. When I came back, I started working at a company in Bloemfontein, a debt review company. And when I started working there, I realized this is what I want to do. This is where this is a fit.
Where you belong.
Yeah, this is fitting me perfectly. It is helping people. And I worked there for a while, and I said, you know what, this is something I would like to do as a career and as a business. And I ventured out on my own, and I started my own debt counseling company, and that was in 2011. It was registered officially in 2012. And yeah, since then we've been helping people getting out of debt, getting them names cleared from ITC, etc., just helping them. I think what caught me was that when you sit with somebody and they're telling you, because remember, it's a personal thing. Debt is a personal thing. It's a difficult thing. People feel shame. They feel scared. And when you sit with somebody and you finish working out that whole structure and saying, this is how we're going to do it, the best part of that whole interview is when you finish, you say, okay, everything okay now? And they go like, yeah, I can sleep tonight.
Yes.
That is so fulfilling. And yeah, that's where it started, and that's where we've been ever since, helping people paying debt.
Wow, that's amazing. And I believe that's where the name also came from. The Stress-Less.
Yes.
So how did that came about? Like,
when I was thinking about names, it was what is associated with debt, and how would you entice somebody to say, look, this is where I need to be. Stress-less, meaning you are not going to stress about your debt anymore. I always joke and I say my clients stress less and I stress more. Because once they've given it over to me, I'm taking control of that debt. I'm handling all of that and sorting it out and fight with the creditors and make the arrangements and whatever. And they can just relax and do life.
yes.
Because it's actually, it's very scary how debt influences stress in people's lives and in their workplaces. You know, if you are at work and there's somebody phoning you constantly about your debt and this and that, you are stressed, you are not focused on your job.
Yeah.
So people lose, how do you put it, they are not as
Focused.
concentrated. Concentrated. So they're not all at work because half of their mind is with stress.
The debt.
Then you get other things. It goes into people starting drinking, people starting using other methods to get rid of the stress. So it's like a big snowball that happens, and it affects families like big time. Children, spouses, everybody. It's a big stress on them. So yeah, so stressing less. I take away that stress. You can do life. You can focus on your children. You can focus on your job, and you can get out of the debt and live a happy life.
Wow, that's amazing. So you take the baggage for them to actually breathe.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, ma'am, what is the biggest reason people get into debt?
Yeah, there's a few. You can't say there's just one reason. There is several indicators or things that can happen which put people in debt. People must never think that the only reason for going into debt is because of overspending. Yes, it is a cause, But there's so many other factors. And in my career as a debt counselor, I've only had one client which was over indebted because he was living the high life, if you can put it that way. Nice big car, big house, and having the children as nannies, and it's this and that. It's awesome. Only one. The rest is retrenchments. One or the other or both spouses loses their job.
Sure.
Medical conditions where people get sick, medical aid gets run out. They need to make loans to pay medical bills, etc., etc. Death in the family, where
Sure.
anything that is a major event in your life can put you back financially, like really badly. And that is when people start making loans to cover up what is going wrong. So yeah, that is big factors: is losing jobs, retrenchments, people becoming medically unfit, and they don't have any cover to cover them for not being able to work anymore.
Yeah.
There's people who just, like, somebody lost a loved one. Divorce
Sure.
is a big one that puts people in debt because there's costs involved with divorces. There's maintenance that needs to be paid. There's people that have to still, with now one salary, do the same as what they had with two salaries.
Sure.
That's a big problem, and that makes it difficult for people to not become over indebted. Yeah.
Sure, that is hectic because we don't realize how many factors is actually involved with it.
Yeah.
We just think, okay, overspending or all the credit cards and
those credit cards and those loans are the things that people use to patch up the things that's not working.
And that's not
Something
working.
breaks.
Yes.
I don't have the money to fix it now.
Yeah.
So what do? Let's use the credit card, or let's make a quick loan because we can do this or that and we'll fix it up. But then things just go more south and more south and more south. Also the fact that people will think always, look, we are a hopeful nation. That is a fact.
Definitely.
So we always have hope, and we always go like, but maybe something will go better, or maybe something will change. But in the meanwhile, things just get worse. And I often find that people only reach out to us as debt counselors when it's almost too late.
Sure.
When the sheriff is standing in front of the door saying, I'm coming to write up your stuff, or I'm coming to fetch your car. Or when they're getting letters from lawyers saying there's going to be legal action. So yeah, I think it's important that when people start, the very first thing you've got a problem is if you are taking, let's say for instance, the one credit card to pay the other credit card. That's a big thing. Or, okay, we're not going to pay the water and lights this month because we pay the school fees, but next month we skip the school fees to pay the water and lights. We've had things like that happen where people start juggling.
Sure.
They start moving money in different places just to see if they can get it. So yeah, once that starts happening, there is a problem. And you need to reach out because sometimes there's a very easy solution.
Yeah.
Not every solution, talking to a debt counselor, is going to end up you being under debt review.
Yeah.
Debt review is also not a death sentence. You are not going to be listed on the credit bureau for the rest of your life with no hope of ever having a new life ever again. Once you've finished paying off your debt, your ITC is cleared. You will be able to in the future buy a car or buy a house or do something else,
Okay.
So yeah, it's important people also know that.
Wow, that's a lot, and it's actually amazing. Okay, so what is your opinion about a credit-driven economy?
Yeah, I spoke to John about it a bit earlier as well. You must remember that a credit-driven economy was started in the 60s, 70s, and I think it found its feet in the 80s. It was started for customers and businesses to make credit to enhance the economy, which was a good thing. And it did work. It did work because if you wanted credit to build your business, to give more jobs, to move more product, whatever, it was working. The problem we have in today's society with credit is that we are no longer really worried about how we're going to grow the economy. We want instant gratification. We walk past the window shop. I always use our girls, and you see those beautiful pair of shoes. Oh my, they're so beautiful. You must have them. And you know you can't afford them really, but hey man, I've got this Edgar's account.
Yeah.
So let me just put it on there. It's going to be like a 60 Rand a month for 6 months. It's okay. But all those little purchases adds up. One day you wake up and your Edgar's account is 500 Rand a month.
Sure.
That money you have now taken out of your household to pay that account.
Sure.
I actually got a stat here, which one of our directors of the CASA, which is our association, Debt Counsellors Association, said 10 million people in South Africa has bad debt at this moment, meaning they have missed 3 or more payments on a creditor.
Sure.
And most of them have an average of 8 loans each. So people go, I want this and I am going to buy it now. So I can't do it, so I'm going to do it on my credit card, or I'm going to make a loan because, you know, we will be able to handle the payment. But eventually you can't because it's too much. It adds up all the time. And other things go up, not even yearly, weekly. Groceries, petrol, electricity, everything is going up. We are no longer in a position where we can say, oh, I'm getting a yearly increase at work. Your yearly increase at work is not even covering your basic expenses of electricity, water, petrol, transport, and those things.
Sure.
So yeah, it was a good system, and I think it can still be used for good, but I think that we have gone over the edge of using credit to fill in what we want. I always use this example. It was the best ad I saw on television, where the guy's walking and he goes, oh, I want that. And then this voice says, do you want it or do you need it? And he goes like, I want to need it. It was brilliant. And that is so what we are doing. We want to need everything.
We want to need everything.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my word, yeah. I'm guilty of that. So now you're
Me
like
too.
beating me.
Yeah, me too. Actually one of my friends sent me that and he said, this is you.
Yeah.
I want
I
to need it.
I want to need. Okay. So tell us, is your organization accredited?
Yeah, we're not accredited like you will get brokers got accreditation, but what we do have is debt counsellors must go for a course which has been set up by the NCR. So you go for a debt counsellors course, you have to complete the course and you have to get more than 80% to pass the course to register as a debt counsellor. We then also get looked at in terms for your registration. You can obviously not be on ITC. You can't have a criminal record, etc., etc. Yeah. So all of those are taken into account before you get registered. Once you're registered, you get a DC number, which mine is NCR DC 2881. Okay, so that is your number. And the NCR is the guys who monitors us and they regulate us. So we get audited yearly in terms of, are we following the rules of debt counselling? Are we doing what we should? Are we following, like for instance, the NCR has structured fees for debt counsellors to use. You can't just make your own amount here out of the air and say, okay, I'm going to charge this. There's certain structures in all of that. Payment agencies that must be used for the distribution of your clients' money to the creditors. You're not receiving that money in your bank account. That is illegal. So if somebody is looking at a debt counsellor, they must try and go on the website, the NCR website. It's on, you Google NCR website, debt counsellors, and you can go check the list of names of debt counsellors that is registered, if they're still active, because sometimes they're still registered but they're not active. So you can go check that, and also to get a debt counsellor that is close to you, because you want to be able, well, with lockdown now, I do a lot of consultations on Zoom, but telephone, email, in person if it needs be. You need to know the person, or can at least go to the person and say, look, I've got a problem or whatever. I also at this point want to please ask people to be careful of misrepresentation of debt counselling on Facebook and ads, stuff that's sent around saying that they're going to cut 80% of your debt or have it written off, or they must be really careful. There's a lot of misadvertising going on, and that can get you into real trouble. I've had people who just asked about debt review, and then someone ended up being under debt review without even having signed anything or any of that. So please be careful. Go check who is this person. If you see this name, go look up on the NCR debt help system. Go see. Oh, okay, this guy is registered. This is his address. All is done. All is good. Yeah, do that. Yeah, just be safe.
Yeah. Okay, so ma'am, can you guarantee that the clients, creditors will stop calling them?
Definitely. I love that. That is my power. That's my superpower.
Superwoman.
Yeah, definitely. Once we start the process and the creditors have been informed of the debt review. Now, let's say we do an application today, we send out the forms. Maybe for the next week or so, you are still going to receive phone calls because it must now has to go through the systems and everybody has to be informed and what. So once, say, let's say after a week, maybe two, if it takes that long, they should stop calling you. Also, once you have signed that application and it's been sent out, no legal action may be taken against you after that process has started, unless the legal action was already instituted before the debt review. But I have also assisted consumers in making arrangements on those things with creditors or the legal entity that is having the problem. So yeah, and also if any creditor, whilst you are under debt review, start phoning you again or sending you messages or making allegations of your stuff not being paid, you contact your debt counsellor immediately and they must sort it out. That's their job. That's what they have to
definitely
do. I have heard of people where they say, but they phone and these people are phoning them and then I say, but you phone your debt counsellor. They must, that is what we do. We stop those people from harassing you because that's what we want. We don't want you to be harassed. If you are paying monthly, and this is also important, if you are going to skip payments, you will have a problem. Debt review is not going to work for you if you skip payments because they are going to terminate your debt review. And then they are going to harass you and they're going to take legal action. And all the bad things that you can think is then going to come down on you. So once you go under debt review, this is a commitment for you to make that monthly payment and to keep to it so that you not get harassed. Yeah.
Okay. So how much in terms of affordability do you charge for your services?
Okay. So like I said, we've got structured fees from the NCR. Also, we have I have a fee sheet that I go through with my client to say this is going to be your fees, this is how it works. So let's make an example. I did an application and the person is going to be paying 5,000 Rand per month on his debt review. Okay, my fees is included in that payment. So from month one, when he starts paying 5,000 Rand, the first 5,000 is the debt counsellor's fee. This is capped. We are not allowed to take more than a certain amount, and there's a monthly deduction which gets done out of that money that gets paid to the debt counsellor for maintaining the file, which is 5% for 2 years, and after 2 years it becomes 3%. And that is all set out on that structure, and we work out the amounts for that client, specifically what is your things and how is it going to work. So there's no additional cost. I also don't ask fees for my consultations. I also don't ask admin fee to do your application. So I just work from the day you start and from your first payment. And that, like I said, it differs for clients, but there's a structure that the NCR set down. So we can't go more than that and nothing extra. It's only that amount.
Okay. So I see in your bio that you are in partnership with a lot of other businesses. So tell me how the partnerships with other strategic businesses added to your services and the value propositions.
Okay, so as being doing debt review for such a long time, we started realizing there's certain gaps that we can help consumers fill in certain needs that they have. You must remember that once a person goes under debt review or when they come to us, the first thing people cancel to save money to pay debt is medical aids, funeral policies, life cover, even car insurance. People cancel those things because they need money to pay debt. So I have gone in partnership, if we call it that, with a company that assists consumers with these type of policies, including, for instance, a policy that will cover your debt if you get retrenched or if you should pass away. that will cover those debts. And that, as an add-on to, is a service that we give for you to know that you have this. And this is included in your monthly expenses. In other words, we include it in your budget, so it is possible to be paid even though you are under debt review. Because people should have those covers. You cannot live without it. If something happens while you are under debt review to your car, you cannot go buy a new one. You are under debt review. You can't make other credit. So what are you going to do? So we've got a company, for instance, who does insurance where they will pay you out a voucher of anything between 100 to 120,000 rand. I'm speaking under correction, but more or less that, to replace your car. And that's for a minimal fee every month, which you can do with us. Other things that I've gone into recently is where we can actually assist people, because sometimes you get somebody who is they are struggling, but there is still a bit of hope. Where we can do savings options, where they can generate an income which can then be used to pay the debt instead of going under debt review. Because we have also looked at that, to put somebody under debt review for 3 years, for instance, if they could solve the problem in 2 years with a savings option, that is also a better plan. Also businesses, especially with COVID, a lot of people have struggled with expenses, because even if you lock down and closed, you need to pay your expenses. You have to pay the rent, you have to pay the wages, you have to pay this and that. So we've also got programs where we can assist them to cover monthly expenses, so that if something happens, they know that is something that is set and done, and they don't have to worry about. So I've branched out a lot, because I think there's much we can do to assist people in becoming financially healthy, to becoming in a life where you don't just have to worry about debt anymore.
I think that's a very big thing in our communities. You know, the stress about debt, and it really breaks out families. I've seen that. I've seen that, and families are just like,
it's heartbreaking, you know. Somebody said to me once, I said, it's actually a very sad job I do. Because you must remember, I have seen people sitting in front of me where a guy would tell me he contemplated suicide because he just doesn't know which way to go anymore.
Sure.
People get so depressed and stressed out, and it's sad. It's sad that people have to go through that, and that we need to make a space to assist them and to help people, and we can. And if we can, why not? I'm also currently looking at communities where poverty and where job loss is a huge thing, to start a program which we want to start with, helping them to create income. But that is something we can discuss as well on another time, because that's a whole different story. But I'm really looking at different things to assist communities and people just in getting out of this slump, getting out of this thing that has thrown everybody. Everybody has been affected by COVID. There's not a person that can stand up and say, oh no, COVID was okay, I just enjoyed my time at home and had a few beers or whatever. No, it affected everybody. The tempo at which businesses are closing, because they cannot recover. You do not recover quickly from a big thing like what happened. So if there's options where we can assist people in doing just that, then by all means, that's what we need to do.
And I can just hear in your voice, ma'am, the passion that you have for what you are doing. I think it's amazing as an entrepreneur, how you ventured into this business. And I can hear that it's not only about the money, it's about your heart, being for people, being for the community, wanting people to get out of that bondage that debt brings, because really it's a bondage.
It is.
That they get into, and they feel like, oh my word, I don't know how.
And you know what? I myself have been in a situation where I have seen this, where I lived it. My partner got retrenched, so I had to take over the household, one salary. We had a child in school still, and it was incredibly difficult. I know what it feels like when you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't breathe because you are not sure, how are you going to pay everything? Where is the money going to come from? It's not going to fall out of the air.
Yes.
So I know what it feels like, and I think that is why I have compassion for people who goes through that, because I actually know what it feels like. I don't sit on that side of the table and go like, oh, shame, you know, it's like, oh, you see, what did you do? Yeah. No, I know exactly how quickly that thing can tumble and bring you down. And there's nothing, nobody needs to be ashamed of getting into a problem. There is no shame in that. It happens to us all. But at least there's somebody who can assist you and help you and take your hand and say, let's see what we can do. And yes, I am quite a fighter. I will fight for the underdog always. I've done it since I was small, and I've been doing it for my clients. I will fight tooth and nail to get what is good for them. And I won't give up. I'm like I've got a pit bull, but I am like a pit bull as well. I will not stop. I will stick to my guns, and I will get what I need for them. Yeah. So
and you'll
I think
bite if necessary.
they will have to.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay. So, ma'am, can you tell us how this journey, your journey, has shaped you to become the person that you are today?
I think a lot of that is from growing up. I also had to fight for what I wanted. I didn't grow up. We weren't rich or whatever. So I had to work while I studied. I had to get into debt to see, oh, shit, you mustn't do that, because you have to get out of it again. That credit on the card is not what you can spend. You need to pay it back. I did those things when I was studying. So I had to work hard to get where I was. And I think my willpower and a lot of my, like you say, I'm passionate about what I do. And I think that has grown to such an extent that I now feel capable of branching out, which previously I wouldn't have done. I would have said, okay, but I am helping people here. But now I'm starting to see these different ways that we can do this. And yeah, I think that has improved that whole let's fight some more and get some more people out of problems and get them to having a good life.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, so far, I'm just sitting here and I'm taking everything in, and that's for me as a young person as well. To hear what you are saying now and making better choices for myself as I go on,
and especially for young people.
Yeah.
If I can give any young person advice today, it's yes, you need credit to make credit. That's unfortunately the two sides of the coin. If you don't have credit, you're not going to be able to get credit to buy a house or car or whatever. But be safe in the way you handle that credit, because people are not educated in credit. I've had clients who phone me and say, why am I still paying interest? I'm under debt review. Because interest doesn't go away because you're under debt review. We only lower the installment and lengthen your term. The creditors do not have to negotiate interest. That is their money, right? So people are not educated. So try to keep your credit down to a limit only to build a credit record, but not to overuse it. Don't do the 6 pairs of shoes every month.
Unnecessary stuff.
Don't do unnecessary stuff. If you want it, save for it. When we were younger, that was a big thing in when I grew up, we had to save. If we wanted something, if I said I wanted this doll, I wanted that, my mom would say, okay, so every week you must put away this money, and then you can use that to do that. And it is possible to do that, because I had a client who was under debt review with me. When she finished, she phoned me and she said, thank you so much. I've saved up enough to put a deposit on a new car.
Wow.
You can save and you can live without debt. So keep it simple and keep it small. Don't get overexcited. As easy as that sounds, then.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So, how can the listeners get in touch with you?
Okay, there's different. They can phone me. They can email me. I think we have the email address on the Facebook page, stress.debt@gmail.com. They can phone me on 071 899 0772 or 062 671 6793. And we can meet. We can set up an arrangement to meet, or we can do it on Zoom. Like I said, I can do Zoom interviews as well, or just by email. I've got a lot of clients who are in different places in the country, and we do all our communication by email and phone. So you don't necessarily have to come and see me, but that's the different ways they can get hold of us.
Okay. Well, that was an amazing session, ma'am. Really amazing, very informative as well. Okay. So yes, listeners, that was Amina Grobbelaar of Stress-Less Debt Counsellors, and we had a really good time with you, ma'am. Yes, I just want to tell you that you must just keep on keeping on. You know, doesn't matter what happens. Yes, we'll be praying for you as a radio station, that your business would go from strength to strength. And yeah, man, amazing things yet to happen for
Absolutely.
you and your business. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to the session that we had. Stay tuned for more programs, for more amazing stuff to come, and amazing music as well. Thank you very much. Yeah, Agape FM, and stay tuned.